Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our AFL 2022 round previews. Yes, here we are for another round preview. I like to call it extended tipping, except I don't put that in the title because that's pretty boring. But preview sounds a lot better, but it is basically extended tipping. But anyway, here we are for the round preview. Going to be previewing every game of round 20 of the 2022 AFL season. There's another massive round of footy coming up right ahead of us, so going to be wasting no time and hopping in to this round preview. But as always, there was a big round last week, so we're going to be going back, checking out all the action that round had, round 19. It saw the first draw of the year. Richmond and Fremantle Friday night played out in a draw, and then the Hawks smashed North Melbourne. The Swans got over the Crows. The Cats and the Power played out an absolute Adelaide Oval classic with the Cats winning. The Lions and the Suns produced an epic Q-clash, and the Doggies and the Demons produced an epic grand final rematch with the Doggies winning by 10 points. The Blues over the Giants. The Pies continue their red-hot winning streak of the close games. They beat the Bombers by 4 with a Jamie Elliott after the siren. And then the Eagles and the Saints play out in Perth. The Saints win by 28 points. And also round 23 fixtures being announced. So just going to run through that really quickly as well. Brisbane play Melbourne. Massive game that went on the Friday night. The Giants hosted the Dockers at Manuka. The Roos will do battle with the Suns at Marvel. The Cats do battle with West Coast at GMHBA. The Bombers do battle with Richmond on Saturday night, and the Saturday night showdown Port Adelaide versus Adelaide. Hawks do battle with the Doggies on the first game on Sunday. Carlton Collingwood could be one of the biggest games of the round, and Saints Sydney could also be one of the biggest games of the round. So I feel like every result has the potentiality of going a different way, bar the Geelong West Coast. I feel like that's a one-sided game. Maybe the other two, North Gold Coast and GWS Fremantle as well. But I feel like other than that, every result has the potentiality of going either way. But anyway, we've done enough. It is time for the round 20 AFL 2022 round 20 previews. Let's get stuck into things. Alright, so round 20 is a big round of footy coming up. So you do not want to miss a moment of this spectacular round that is to come. Again, we're going to be learning about more teams' finals aspirations and season over some teams. Fremantle versus Melbourne. It'll be sure to be a classic played out on Friday night at Optus Stadium. Fremantle's home turf. Fremantle sit 5th on the ladder. Melbourne sits 2nd. This is going to be an absolute epic played out. I can just see that one coming. Later starts as per usual. It's only going to be a 6:10 start for WA people, so it's early for them. But actually one of their later games, believe it or not, but you can't get it too late for the rest of the country. But the Dockers and the Demons playing out at Optus Stadium. This one does have the capability of going either way. Even though for some people it may be the obvious tip to go for the Dockers or the Demons, I feel like this is like a 50-50 one of the games of the round, if not the game of the rounds. But I feel like the Dockers will win it by 16 points. Bit of a biggish win. I just feel like the Demons last week versus the Dogs weren't their greatest outfit. They conceded 110. I reckon this could be high or low scoring, really. The Dockers, they're alright, and I reckon back on Optus Stadium it'll be really harmful, and they'll be able to punish the D's and get a pretty comfortable win. Well, not a comfortable, but a pretty convincing win, which will again really hurt the Demons' season. And there is chance for the Demons to miss the top 4 altogether. That's how close things are, which we'll be going back and having a look at my predicted ladder by the end of the round. And the ladder as it currently stands as well. So we'll have to go through that and see. But yeah, my first tip is the Dockers. Then Collingwood and Port Adelaide play out on the first game on a Saturday. And this is going to be an interesting game, I reckon, because there's no such thing as Collingwood or Port Adelaide will win this game. Port Adelaide, they have had a few worries, maybe perhaps going into state, and they have been vulnerable. They did lose to Carlton at this very ground quite a few weeks ago, though. So you can't really put anything up against them. But their most recent time in state would have been round 18 when they played, I don't know who, I'll have to go and check. So the last time was when they played the Demons at Alice Springs, and the time before that was Fremantle at Optus. But again, I still just feel like Port Adelaide, they haven't been too bad in state, not going to lie, but I just feel like at the MCG, Collingwood do have the upper hand here and will go in favourites, and of course they will, the obvious favourites. Collingwood are 4th, eyeing a top 2 spot, actually, believe it or not, if they can get other results to fall their way. And Port Adelaide sit 11th, and this is their real last chance. We lose this, and you're out of the race. Collingwood want to get into a top 2 spot, well, this is the perfect time to start it. Now, Collingwood, they have been masters at winning close ones, so I'm tipping them to win by 11 points. Sydney versus GWS is Sydney's back-to-back home game at Optus, at the SCG, so back-to-back games at the SCG for Sydney, and they'll be loving that. They play well there, but the daytime games do produce a bit of a problem, and they comfortably got over the Crows last week. The Crows never looked like coming back, to be completely honest. They were always in the game after half time, but never were really in it though. And this is, again, not really much of a difference. I feel like the result will be pretty similar to the way it was last week in favour of Sydney. The game starts 25 minutes later, Sydney time, from when it was last week. So, again, not much of a difference. Still going to be a Sydney daytime game, which does have worries for the Swans. But, again, they did a pretty good job with it last week, so I think they'll be able to do it again. Over crosstown rivals, people suggest it's going to be a close game. Me, no, I'm not going to be having any of that. So, I'm going to be saying it's an absolute smashing in Sydney's favour and that they'll win the game by 35 points. And, yeah, Sydney sits 6th. That's a bit of a tongue twister. And the Giants sit 15th. But yeah, I feel like the Swans comfortable winners there. St Kilda versus Hawthorn, Saturday twilight footy at Marvel Stadium. Now, I feel like this is one of those games like Port Adelaide and Geelong last week, where it's the unlikely thriller. That's what I've called it, the unlikely thriller, or the unlikely ripping game that you just don't see coming. And good chance there'll be one per round. And I feel like this is the game that is the unlikely ripper, or the unlikely thriller of this round, is St Kilda versus Hawthorn. I feel like the game is going to be a lot closer than what it would suggest to be. St Kilda sit 9th, the Hawks sit 13th. Both teams play Marvel very well, both their home grounds, so it's not like it's neutral grounds or one team has a home advantage over the other. Both home grounds, so it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. As I said before, I feel like it's going to be the unlikely thriller. That is going to be the thriller. I feel like this is going to be the silent thriller, if you get what I mean. Just the one that people aren't going to be talking about compared to the other games like Fremantle and Melbourne. But, again, I still feel like this one could go 50-50. Saints are 9th, Hawks 13th. I have tipped the Saints by 11, go the safe tip. But I feel like the Hawks do have the potentiality to come out. They've won 3 on the trot. They can come out and win 4 on the trot and really put some damage into the Saints' finals hopes. If they want to make finals, this has to be one that the Saints just have to put away, regardless of the margin. The Cats and the Bulldogs play out Saturday night at GMHBA Stadium, and this is a little bit of a danger game for the Cats. The Dogs played well last week, but it's going to be away from Marvel, which is going to present a ton of victories for the Western Bulldogs. So you feel like they may be out of the game from centre bounce first siren, but I don't know. I feel like they'll play okay for the first half and probably drop off in the second. But again, who knows? The Cats sit first on the ladder and have been the team to beat this year, and the Doggies sit 8th, and they haven't had the great year what they would have been hoping, I bet, have the Western Bulldogs. So I feel like the Cats will win this one pretty comfortably. I've said by 43, I think. 43 points, which probably, no, was it 40? No, it was 33, sorry. I knew 43 was a bit over the top. 33 points, sorry, is what I said. I feel like the Cats would just be way too strong. However, I just feel like, yeah, they are the team to beat. They're the side to beat. And at Cardinia Park, the Dockers have done it. Probably one other team. I don't know if any other teams have beaten them at Cardinia Park. But it is a pretty tough venue to beat the Cats at. And I feel like they'll just come out firing and won't lose this one. The Crows and the Blues play out in the second Saturday night game at the Adelaide Oval. Now, the Adelaide Crows, they have been pretty good there when they've played there this year. They've been able to knock off some quality opponents. But they've also been pretty poor at times as well, have the Adelaide Crows. They're a bit of a team where they're going to put in the effort and never give up, but you really don't know when they're going to play well or not. So this game, when it's Adelaide, you don't really know how to tip them. I've pretty much lost my faith to tip the Adelaide Crows, even though they are my team. But it's hard to tip them because you don't know when they're going to come out firing or not. And this Carlton outfit is a good side. They have had a few troubles over this year, especially with defensive stocks. But Adelaide's forward line isn't something that's as threatening for now. But Walker, Philthorpe, and O'Brien could definitely produce some threats in the future. Fogarty, Philthorpe, some up-and-coming forwards being learnt by Walker, one of the best forwards in the game, probably down the rank, but still a brilliant forward. So, again, they've got some good players coming through, and they're a young team, so they're going to take a little while to get going. So they may be right up and buzzing about in 2-3 years' time, if that's a fast-tracked rebuild. Otherwise, 4 or 5 years is when it may look like to be done, maybe. But they've got a promising list. Could it start here with a big upset? I don't think so. I've tipped Carlton by 11 points. Actually, I've tipped a few teams by 11 points. Collingwood, Saints, and Blues by 11. It is the 11 points around, if you ask me. But yeah, Crows sit 16th, Blues sit 7th. Going the safe tip, but the upset is definitely possible. But the 11 pointers, hey? Something going on there. Let's see if I've tipped any more 11 pointers. I haven't. Oh, spoiler, I haven't. Gold Coast play out with West Coast on the first game of Sunday. Gold Coast at Metricon Stadium versus West Coast. Now, West Coast last year, what am I going on about? Last week, were pretty poor in the last quarter, and they have lost a few games in the last quarter off the back of some poor last quarters. They could have stole the game against the Hawks in the last quarter, and they could have beaten the Saints last week in the last quarter. So their last quarters have been a bit of a problem, and if they're in this game at three-quarter time, they will lose because they don't have great last quarters, unfortunately enough, this West Coast side. So Gold Coast, I feel like this should be probably a free win for them. West Coast won't play well up at Metricon, and Gold Coast have played pretty well up there this year, beat some quality opponents up there, so I feel like they'll be able to win this game by 28 points comfortably. But yeah, the Suns, I reckon this is their last chance again, just along the line, like Port Adelaide. They want to make the 8. This is their last chance to make the 8. So this is a game they simply must win. They must bag the 4 points if they are any chance heading into September, which is still unlikely from here. But look, they have a chance, but they have to bag 4 points here. And for West Coast, it's been a disappointing season, and they'll just be looking to try and get a few repairing wins to send next year into a positive note. Now, Richmond versus Brisbane could be another game of the round right here at the MCG. Now, you'll be like, some of you might be like, Flaming Footy, it's pretty obvious, just tip Brisbane, which, no, that's not the case, actually. I'll be actually going over a bit of a story. So, Brisbane and the MCG are quite a poor side, not going to lie. So, a few of you guys may have tipped Brisbane, and that's more than fine. I feel like this is a 50-50 game. Unsure who to tip, but I have obviously tipped the team. But yeah, this one was going to be probably one of the toughest games of the round, probably the best game of the round, along with Fremantle and Melbourne so far. But it's at the MCG. If it was at any other grounds, it'd be Brisbane. I would tip Brisbane, but because it's at the MCG of all grounds, it'll be at the MCG. If it was at the Gabba, I'd tip Brisbane. If it was Optus, I'd tip Brisbane. If it was anywhere except for the MCG, I'd be tipping Brisbane. But because of the MCG and Richmond plays so well at that ground, it is hard to tip against them there. And I have tipped Richmond by 16 points, actually. Another 16-pointer. Tip Richmond by 16 points. And yeah, I just feel like Brisbane and the MCG, this is not going to be their time to break a hoodoo. Seeing Richmond is still a strong side there, and I still feel like they'll win, despite a few injuries going around. But Brisbane could definitely win this game. It's 10th versus 3rd. Who knows? Who knows with this one? Brisbane could surprise and upset and break their hoodoo at the MCG, but I don't know. For me, it's not looking promising. It's the final game of the rounds. Essendon versus North Melbourne at Marvel. The final game of the round, 4:40 on a Sunday. And I actually had this game a few weeks ago to be the game of the improvers and wasn't really sure who to tip, and I think I tipped the Bombers by about 20 points in my ladder prediction video. Well, things since then have changed drastically. It just took one performance from North Melbourne to play pretty poorly against Hawthorn, and you know they're back to where they were a few weeks ago, back to their poor stages again. And yeah, I just feel like the Bombers will win this one pretty comfortably. I tipped them by 41 points. That they'll get a big win and smash the Roos, who haven't really been playing that well this year. 14th versus 18th, this one is. I feel like Essendon get a pretty comfortable win. So now my tips. Now I actually tipped Collingwood by 11, St Kilda by 11, and Carlton by 11. So all the 11s, Fremantle by 16, Richmond by 16. So, hey, we've got a few matching up. I actually didn't even intend that. That wasn't even on purposely done. That was just a true margin that I thought was going to happen. But anyway, to my tips for the rounds. Fremantle is who I tipped. I tipped Fremantle. I tipped Collingwood. I tipped Sydney. I tipped St Kilda. I tipped Geelong. I tipped Carlton, Gold Coast, Richmond and Essendon. And actually, another fun fact, didn't even make this up either. This wasn't on purpose. I tipped most of the home sides except for Carlton. So if I had to tip Adelaide, I would have tipped all the home sides for the round. Where I'm finding out this round is going to be one of the most interesting rounds because I have gone 11 points on 3 games, 16 points on 2 games, and tipped the home side except for 1 game. Wow. Well, we've got a big round. Could there be upsets brewing now? Before we go, there's a couple of things that we need to do, as always. So the ladder as it currently stands, that is how it stands. The Cats are on top of the table. A game clear of the Demons, the Lions and the Pies. The Dockers are in 5th because of that draw. The Storms are in 6th, and 7th is Carlton equal on points. Doggies and Saints are equal on points, 8th and 9th. Tigers are in 10th with 38 with that draw. Port Adelaide, Gold Coast 11th, 12th, 32 points. Hawks 13th, 28. Bombers 14th, 24. And then there's the rest of the ladder. Giants 20, Crows 20, Eagles 8, Roos 8. So that is how it is. Now, games to watch this round. So if I was recommending, probably we'll go 4 games this round. Any 4 games. We'll go 3. Fremantle versus Melbourne is definitely the first one to watch. I would probably go for St Kilda Hawthorn as well, and Richmond Brisbane. And if you want to toss one more in there, I'd go Crows Blues, because I feel like the Crows could definitely spring the upset in this one. And now to my ladder as how I see it after the round. So this is how I see the ladder. I see Geelong first, Collingwood in 2nd, Fremantle in 3rd, Melbourne in 4th, Sydney in 5th, Brisbane going all the way down to 6th, Carlton in 7th, St Kilda in 8th, Richmond in 9th, the Western Bulldogs in 10th, Suns in 11th, Power in 12th, 13th Hawthorn, 14th Bombers, 15th Giants, 16th Crows, 17th West Coast, 18th North Melbourne. So that is how I see the ladder. Again though, I don't know how it's going to go. Football's so unpredictable. But anyway, we're going to end it off there. Been probably the longest round preview of the year. I'm really sorry, but look, there was a lot to go through, and I probably did joke around a little bit in this one anyway. But look, I like to have fun with you all, so I hope that you had fun watching this video. Make sure to leave a like if you had fun watching this video, because it was a fun one to make, as always, as all the videos are fun to make. So anyway, thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys in another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.